Hello, my name is Joni Barrett with Out the Box Mind Body Studio, and I'm going to be talking today about how yoga postures translate into postures. And what I mean by that is in your daily yoga practice, you can actually improve your posture so that you can move more effectively, more efficiently, and pain-free. And I have here to help me today my student Jan, and she's going to be demonstrating, and I'm going to be guiding her into these poses. So as we get started, the first one we're going to do is Tadasana, or mountain pose. And this is a pose you're going to do in every yoga class. And it's basically standing up, which is a posture pose. So we're going to just take a look here at Jan's posture. And I like to start everything at the pelvis and then go to the feet, the ribs, and finally the head. So I'm going to grab my pelvis here. My model pelvis, not mine. And we're just going to take a look at the bowl of the pelvis. So the pieces here are the sacrum, the tailbone, the pubic bone, the ischial tuberosities. Now if you go to a yoga class, you may hear them referred to as sits bones. And these are the iliums. And this bump right here, I refer to it as the hip points. I'll also call them the ASIS. So those are going to be the parts that we're going to be thinking about in the pelvis, and then everything else from there will build. So we'll have Jan just come into a nice Tadasana, and we're going to find those hip points. So in her body, they're right here. So I'm going to have her put her hands right on those hip points so she can feel them. And then she's just going to take those fingers and just slide down into the hip crease and make sure that she has a little bit of softness in her hip sockets. So we may even have Jan just stick the butt out a time. There you go. So we get just a little bit of softness here. This is actually where the leg bone goes in. It's important to remember that our legs are under us and under the hip sockets, and they're a lot more narrow and in front of the body than we think they are. So that pelvis looks really good there. So I'm going to have her turn to the side, and now what I want her to do is find a posteriorly tilted pelvis. So if you see when she does that, the front comes up, the back goes down, and her hip sockets disappear. And then come back to that. Good. So this is going to be where I would like for you to try to see if you can play with. And then the other one is an anterior tilt. This one's not as common, but it's the opposite direction. So it's really coming where the front now has dropped and the back has lifted. And I'll have her just come back to that level pelvis. And then stick the butt out tiny. There you go. And then turn back around. So then the next piece is the feet. So again, we'll find the hip sockets, and you can find that by just finding those hip points, the ASIS, and just dropping that middle finger down, find that softness, and then just look down at your feet. And so for Jan, I'm going to have her bring them a little tiny bit closer together, and maybe a little bit more. There, so they're really underneath. So we're going from here to the kneecap, to the center of the ankle, out to that second toe. Just a nice line there. Now I'm going to give you another way that you can tell if you have your feet under you. Bring your feet all the way together, Jan, and let your big toes touch. And this also will let you measure that the feet are even this direction, because now we can see where those big toes are. And then just bring the feet apart a little bit, but keep the same shape. So that's another way. It's an easy way in Tadasana to be able to just do a real quick check that the feet are in fact under you. Then we'll just have her bring her hands down to the sides. So the rib cage is next. So we're going to want the rib cage to go back slightly. There you go. And then in between the ASIS, I'm going to have you think about drawing that musculature towards each other. And so what you're going to feel is kind of a snugging up of the abdominal area. And these muscles go in a circle all the way around the body. It's your transverse abdominis. So you're going to feel the line of pull this direction as it draws you together. So I'm going to have you turn to the side just so they can see that. Good. The feet under you. Good. And then feel like you're just going to engage the abdominals. There you go. Good, nice. So it just kind of gives you just a little bit of such snugness here. I've heard it described like it's your saran wrap. I like that description. And then the next piece that we're going to think about is going to be the head. So we're going to come up and we're just going to think about lightly brushing the back of the head. And so what you should feel in your own body is just the subtle drop of the chin. So I'm going to show that again because Jan did it so nice. So we brush up and the chin just gently drops. And there is your Tadasana. So turn back towards the camera. Good. The hands are just resting alongside the body. They just drop out of the shoulders. No pinching of the shoulder blades. We're going to let the rib cage support the shoulder blades. That gives the arms mobility. The pelvis is supporting the rib cage and the head, and the legs are just falling out of the sockets down towards the mat. This is your Tadasana or your mountain pose. And this is Joni Barrett with Out the Box Mind Body Studio. And Jan, thank you very much.